So, there we are, back again, as always. It's good for me to be spending time with you regarding the Bible. I read something this morning from from the Bible, which says that the knowledge of the Lord is wisdom. So wisdom is knowledge of the Lord, or that's basically it. So if we want to have knowledge on the one hand, and wisdom, it all comes from knowing the word of the Lord. So the more we can know the word, the wiser we will become. That's basically it. So, and that's true. I mean, we can learn all kinds of things at school, but real knowledge is the knowledge of our Creator, God. So we are busy with Moses. And Moses, remember, went off, I think, to Midian to find a wife. And then the Lord called him to go back to Egypt to get the Israelites out of Egypt. He needed to convince the Pharaoh that he needed to let them go. And he complained because it's, his speech is not good and so on. So many reasons why he could not do it. But then God said he will help him with that. And eventually he gave his brother Aaron to go with him and to be kind of the spokesperson. And he also gave him the staff that could change into a snake. The other sign was to put his hand into his garment, pull it out, and it's full of sores and stuff, and then put it back, and it heals itself. So, because he asked, how will he convince the Pharaoh or the Israelites that God sent him? So now, in this chapter, we will look at the liberation of Israel from their slavery in Egypt and everything that happened in between. The first thing was to confront the Pharaoh. And Moses and Aaron was going to speak on behalf of God, and they went to the Pharaoh and commanded him. But God said, you must let the Israelites go into the desert because they want to have a festival for the Lord. So it's a 3-day journey into the desert, and they want to have this festival. But the Pharaoh just refused, adamantly. And he also challenged the authority of God. Who is this God who can command me? In response, instead of, just letting it go, the Pharaoh increased the workload of the Israelites who worked as slaves in building stuff and, making bricks and building, houses and stuff for the Pharaoh. And he just increased their workload, so it made it much more difficult. So then Moses challenged all these sorcerers that worked with the Pharaoh. And, God gave him the staff that if he threw it down, it becomes a snake. So when Moses did this, these sorcerers just did the same. They also had all kinds of snakes that suddenly appeared and so on. But the staff of Moses ate all those snakes and consumed them all. And that was a clear sign and they could not counter that. It was a clear sign that the sign that God gave Moses was much stronger. But despite this very clear sign, the Pharaoh would not listen. So now comes the big problem for the Pharaoh, because he persistently refused to release the people. God brought 10 severe plagues upon Egypt. The first 3 plagues included turning water of the Nile into blood, a massive, big infestation of frogs, and then these small little creatures, gnats or lice, covering all the people and the animals. So it must have been very uncomfortable, and all of those plagues lasted for a while. And when the sorcerers failed to replicate all these things, they did admit, this is the finger of God. It is God's doing. Nobody else could do something like that. The other plagues also followed, and remember, it stayed there for days and weeks. Swarms of flies, severe sickness of the animals, affecting, the livestock of the Egyptians. But whilst this happened to the Egyptian animals, it did not happen to the Israelites' animals. So again, a sign that it only happened with Egyptians and not Israelites. People got painful boils and sores. At one point, huge hail came from the heavens and destructed all the crops and stuff. And then locusts that ate whatever was left. And then the 9th plague that covered Egypt in darkness for 3 days. I mean, the sun did not come up for 3 days. I don't know exactly how that worked, but darkness for 3 days. Whilst the Israelites had light in their homes, not candles and stuff, light provided by God. So then the final plague, and every time, let me just explain this, when Moses went to the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh said, no, you cannot go, when Moses went away, these plagues then, one by one, would happen. And then after this plague, Moses would go back to Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh would say, yes, I'm tired of this stuff, just take it away, I'll let you go. And as soon as the plague is gone, the Pharaoh said, you will not go. So then comes the next plague and the next plague. So it happened for 9 times. Then, here comes the final plague. Before this 10th plague, God instructed the Israelites to prepare for the Passover. They were required to slaughter a lamb and apply its blood to the doorposts of their houses, and then they were to eat the meal, the roasted meat. They had to eat unleavened bread and bitter herbs, and they must ready themselves for immediate travel. Well, this Passover was an annual event to remember it will become an annual event to establish, or to remember their exodus from Egypt. So this was the first Passover with instructions of exactly how to do it, and it would happen from now on every year in remembrance of this exodus from Egypt. Well, the feast, if you think about the future, was also a foreshadow of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. The lamb sacrificed here, Jesus sacrificed later on, who delivered us from sin. In this case, it delivered the Israelites from the Egyptians. So the exodus that follows after that. So from slavery of from the Egyptians to slavery from sin. So delivered from the slavery, and us delivered from the slavery of sin. So it was a foreshadow or a forecast of what was to come. Well, the final plague, the 10th plague, occurred when the angel, the destroying angel of God, passed over the whole country, the whole land. The angel would then bypass the houses that was marked with the blood of the Lamb. But in the houses that were not marked by the Lamb's blood, all the Egyptian homes, the firstborn died. Since the Pharaoh's own firstborn died, he finally commanded Moses and Aaron to take the Israelites and just go. But he meant go now, immediately. He wanted them out of his country. All these things that happened was just now too much, and now his firstborn son also died. Well, after 430 years, the Israelites finally departed. Remember the instruction before the 10th plague? Get yourself ready to leave immediately. You must be able to leave fast. Pack your stuff. Just pack the stuff that you can carry with you. And of course, the animals that they possessed would go with them and so on. What also happened that was interesting was that when they left, they were given a lot of silver and gold by the Egyptians just to get them away and say, good riddance. Take gold and silver and just go. So the plagues really, really hurt the Egyptians, and the Pharaoh just could not take it any longer. And then when his firstborn son died, he said, that's it for me, just go. So suddenly, I think it was millions of people just left Egypt, and suddenly they didn't have any slaves anymore. I wonder what happened to the Egyptians after that. They must have struggled immensely to do the work that all these Israelites did for them. And I'm sure they were in the middle of building projects, huge building projects and stuff like that, planting crops and, all those kinds of things. But anyway, so there goes the Israelites, and we'll then, tomorrow and afterwards, and the next couple of days, we will learn more about the travels of the Israelites in the desert. But for today, that's it. I hope it made some sense. I think what we need to do is to write down these plagues, the 10 plagues, so that we remember them in the sequence that they happened. I'll give you a note on that. All right. Okay. Take care. Remember, Opa and Oma love you too. And God willing, we'll speak tomorrow. All right. Take care. Lekker slaap.